Portugal announced like a month ago that they were going to start collecting bottles for the first time for recycling. Like you get 10 cents a bottle. So I've been collecting all my bottles for like a month now. 10 cents each. 10, I'm thinking, we made it. I've been keeping all of them. Turns out they all have to have a special symbol. Not a single one of these bottles has a special symbol. Now I have a month's worth of bottles. This little cat. Devastated. This is going to be a very regular day, but I'm going to be trying a new running style that I learned in a book called Running with the Kenyans. If you know anything about marathon running, you know that Kenyans have dominated the sport for the past 10 to 15 years. Specifically Kenyans, actually very interesting enough. And the guy in this book who wrote this book went to Kenya to kind of learn what they do differently. And one of the main things that I got from the book is that they run on the forefront of their foot. Most people run on the heel, they run more on the forefront. And the idea is that this makes you much faster. You've gotten used to running on the heel, and it's actually a worse way, apparently, to run. So I'm going to test it out. Just as a heads up, all the footage that I'm using today was filmed on another day. On this day, I was really focused on running faster, and that could also be why I ran faster. Hey guys, I'm new to this, so if you could please like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. So while I'm here, I want to be as informative as possible, and one thing I realized pretty early on in this book is that the forefront idea is really just one part of a much bigger picture. The book Running with the Kenyans by Adharanand Finn, he basically is a runner and journalist who actually moved his family to Kenya to live there, train there, and try to understand why so many great runners come from that. I'm in Rita Sintra, Molesses, which is like this massive station that they clearly had huge plans for, but maybe the area didn't grow as quickly as they expected. So for me, it's my favorite station. It just looks a little bit post-apocalyptic. Okay, I'm gonna do the next 5 kilometers, no stopping at all. And I'm gonna try and see how fast I can get. In the book, Finn actually moves to Kenya to live there, train there, and try to understand why so many great runners come from that area. The second reason he mentions, other than the forefoot idea, is just how these runners grow up. A lot of them are used to moving on foot from a young age, and by the time they start taking running seriously, they already have this huge base under them. Not to mention the altitude. He specifically went to a place called Iten, which is one of the most famous areas for training camps, which we'll get into in a second. And Iten sits up high in the Rift Valley, and Finn talks a lot about how hard it is just to train there if you're not used to it. So they're not only talented, they're also training every day in conditions that build endurance. Now let's move on to training camps. There is a huge group aspect to this. A lot of these runners are part of training camps or training groups, and Finn describes camps where athletes live together, train together, eat together, and basically build their whole lives around running. Even runners who don't live in the camp still come in for sessions, so you're constantly surrounded by fast people. And I think that matters a lot, because if everyone around you is training hard, then running, starts to feel normal. I definitely have seen this in my own life, where sometimes I join run clubs and I always end up doing a much better time. There's just this sort of feeling of, I wouldn't really say competition because I'm not very competitive, but there is this want to go faster. Next, he moves on to rest, which is huge. Finn literally talks about how seriously they take recovery. A lot of the day is basically run, eat, sit down, and nap, recover, and then get ready to run again. It's not this lifestyle where people are trying to do a million other things at once. And he even mentions that people that are true athletes do not have jobs. They are financially supported by family members and rely on prize winning. So it is, there is of course an advantage when you're just running all day. That's your thing. And then there's diet. The diet is pretty simple. Ugali, greens, rice, beans, bread, fruit, and tea. A lot of carbs. So it's nothing really fancy, but definitely a lot of carbs. And I guess that would be the biggest takeaway from the book for me. Not just how they land on their foot, but how everything around their life supports the running in general. The altitude, the camps, the training groups, the recovery, the food, all of it. It's kind of funny because here I am trying to fix one small part of my form, and the book is basically saying the real answer is way bigger than that. It's everything. It is definitely way more work on your calves. I'm going to say that. But so funny thing, along with saying to run on the ball of your foot, the front of your foot, it also says to try running barefoot when you can. The idea is, you know, if you were to run barefoot, how would you run if you ran barefoot? You'd run on the top of your foot, right? Will I run barefoot today? I don't think so. Next time. They actually run with, they're called running flats. They're not running with the top running shoes often. They're running with running flats, which basically are as close to barefoot as you can. I have definitely, let me do a little running quick, just so you guys can kind of see how I'm running. I keep saying the front of my foot, but I feel genuinely it's more like front middle. I'm not running on my tippy toes here. But I will say, when I ran past cars, there was a certain way that my form looked while running this way that looked much more professional. Just to be honest, I mean, my thighs looked way stronger. So I was like, yeah, this is nice. I look cooler, I think. I was kind of leaning forward, and I was just like, it's almost like you're stopping yourself from falling. So it does feel unnatural and it's tiring, but there's something about it that actually makes so much sense. The book also said, run like you're running on a unicycle. Run like you're pedaling on a unicycle. So I think they kind of meant like you're kind of walking, you're kind of running tipped over a bit, right? Final assessment. I would say this absolutely works. Final consensus on the new running style is I think it actually works. I mean, my calves were killing. I don't know how else to put this. And my final time was 5 minutes 21 per kilometer, which for me is much faster than my normal time, which is, I would say 6 is like even pushing it 6, like an hour per 10K. I did 13 kilometers in an hour and 9. So do I believe that the forefoot style does help you with running? Absolutely. Okay, I feel it necessary to mention I videotaped this about 3 or 4 days ago, and now I did this 3 days in a row because I did enjoy the faster pace, and now I'm injured. So be careful with this. This is not a fitness channel. I'm just a guy that does fitness, and I'm just telling you about a book I read. I don't think it was necessarily because I ran this way. I think it's because I'm using an entirely different set of muscles to run this way. And it just added, I just did it way too much. I did like a 10K 3 days in a row with a brand new running style. So keep that in mind.